everybody. Welcome to AI for Anyone Live. You'll see that I am just here by myself today. No, that's not intentional. I'll tell you what's going on. An update is happening on Sammy's computer right now. They decided this is the time. So in the background, I'm getting texts from Sammy like, what is happening and all of that. So you are getting me until Sammy can hop in the room. And today we are going to be checking out whether or not AI can give to a nonprofit. So that is going to be what's happening. And also, we're going to be finding out what it's like to try and restart your computer during a live show. So that's also going to be happening. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it because anything can happen here on AI for Anyone Live. All right, so it is just me this morning, and at least for the time being. And you're gonna have to like give me a second to figure out how all of this works in Restream, which is where we're shooting from. While I am putting together the deck and what we are doing today. So thank you for your patience. Thanks for being here this morning. We're really excited about that. Glad that you can be here. And also, I'm gonna take this off. There we go. All right. So if you haven't joined us before, my name is Tim Lockie. I'm usually joined here by my co-host, Sami Zoss. And we do a live show just to help people understand what you can do with AI in the social impact space. Today, we're going to work with an agent that gives to nonprofits. And that's what we're going to be working on today. I want to just find out for a second who's joined us live. If you are here with us, I would love to hear from you. Love to say hi. And so give me just a second while I pop over and see who's on this. I've got two screens, so if I'm not looking at you, that is why. Megan, so great to see you as always. Glad that you can make it. Yes, let's go. And Sammy, update from Sammy's update is that Sammy is at 99% completed on updating her computer. I think we were taking bets as to whether or not Sammy is going to be able to join at all. So if you've got a percent or a time, like what percent is it that Sammy's going to join us? That would be one thing. But then what time is Sammy going to join us? That would be the other thing. So I'm guessing that Sammy is here. I think there's a 90% chance Sammy's going to join us. And I think it's going to be, at about quarter after. So it's 7 after right now. We'll see how we're doing on that. In the meantime, some things that are going on in the AI world. So, it's been a while since we touched base on some of the things happening in the AI world. But if you're not watching the trade-off on updates between OpenAI and Anthropic, that is kind of the scene these days. Those two are going back and forth on who can release the fastest. So they keep dropping new models all the time. In the meantime, it seems like Copilot and Gemini are happy to let the other two, or OpenAI and Anthropic, fight it out on kind of the international scene. Meanwhile, Gemini and Copilot just continue to work really well inside of organizations as a base tool that works with all of their tools inside of the larger platforms that they operate in. That's kind of the scene happening these days. Curious if that is what you were noticing. Also, if you are on two tools, we would love to know what those are. Almost everybody is. So almost everybody's on either Gemini or Copilot, and then they're also on another tool. So let us know. We're always curious about that. And so for the content today, what we're looking at is we have Daffy, who takes plain English instructions, and the Gates Foundation is funding AI tools to accelerate charitable giving. And so Sammy does what a donor would actually do, tells an agent to give away money, and we're going to watch and see what happens. But we're not going to do that till Sami is here. So would love an update when that's going to happen. In the comments, would you let us know if you're like who you're or where you're tuning in from, who you are, what you're doing with AI? I would love to just see some of that in the comments. So yes. All right, Bilha, thank you for joining. 95% at 10:13 is what Bilha thinks. Olivia, okay, on Copilot and Claude. Yeah, okay, Olivia, that's what a lot of people are on as well. Yes. Oh, that's so cool. I'm glad that you read Sabrina Romanov's work. She's in ChatGPT this week. Didn't dig into why. She's been doing a lot in ChatGPT. And Sami, hey, welcome to the call. And your computer's updated.
Jeez, guys.
All right. Well, I think Bilha
Finally,
wins. I thought it was going to be quarter after.
Now, can you hear me?
That's much better. I can.
Good.
It
That
does
was
seem
rough.
like there's
It
a
said
significant delay, though.
100%, like multiple times. Cool. I'm
All right,
trying to figure
we
out
can work
how
with a
much of a delay.
Right. Okay, I think here's what we should do. I think you should dive in and show us the work that you're doing, and I will be sparse with my comments and do more write-ins so that the delay is less noticeable. How about if we do that?
That sounds great. I would love to hear how your week was while I load everything up because it obviously closed.
Okay.
Given the struggle.
That is totally fine. It's a good question because so I think I do a lot in the virtual world with AI, but I'm going to tell you about the other world that is not AI, that is very real world that not a lot of people know about, which is that I am building an off-grid property, like I'm homesteading it. For the last 2 years, I've been working on this. So I like the extremes. I like the completely virtual world, and then the like do some construction with my hands world. And so this past week, I finally put up this dome that I've been working on for years, and just to get all of the deck and everything else ready for that. So that went up this weekend, and it looks really cool. I'm super excited about it. But I had a massive setback. On Saturday, I went up to do this work. It's 45 minutes away from my house. There is no phone. There's cell service. So I should correct that. There's no power, no water, no utilities, nothing. It's like, in the middle of nowhere. And so I went up, and me and my son, another friend of mine, we were working on it. We worked on it all day on Saturday. And then in the last hour of the day when we were working on it, we decided to do this check. It is kind of a yurt. Okay, I'm gonna have to find a picture of this, Megan. Anyway,
a yurt.
It turned out that we had wasted the entire day. Complete waste. I was so depressed. I drove back home at 9 at night, just feeling like the worst, like so bad. Because literally my body hurt, my brain hurt, my soul hurt, everything. And then the next day, I got on. I've been doing a lot of this with Claude, so I can tell you a little bit about that. But I got on with Claude, asked it a bunch of questions, figured out what the problem was. It was on my end. I've been thinking that a circle is the same as a 15-agon, which they aren't the same. Anyway, went up there, got a bunch of saws, cut it all up in a different way, and it worked by the end of the day. And so by the end of Sunday, we had a dome that was up and waterproof. So that's what I worked on. I did other work, obviously. Yeah, but yeah, that's a step outside of the AI work that I usually do, but kind of fun.
There's so much part of me is the irony in you building off the grid is funny just because of how on the grid you are.
I know, right? I agree with that.
But then I also feel like it's always like Nathan Chappelle moved to, you know what I mean? Like he moved to a more remote area and was like, he always talks. Now he's our doom and gloom friend for sure.
I know.
But
It's kind of like my gloom friend.
I listened to one of their fundraising AI podcasts this morning, and he self admits that far too often for me to not take the liberty to use it.
Right.
But I mean, he mentions like every other day he debates like this is the best thing ever, or I'm gonna go and like disconnect from all of the world and never
Right.
see people again. Like
Totally. Yeah.
So it seems so.
The nice thing about that is
type.
that you at least you know it's in the middle of that. Like
Mhm.
it's you know it's going to be in the
It's
middle of that.
perfect.
So,
Really easy
yeah.
to figure out. Now, I also love the irony of you using AI, and it's not a bad thing. Like, it is ironic, but that doesn't necessarily make it wrong by any means. I know I actually used Claude, so I am I am in the middle of moving, and so my camera, like,
Here we go. I'm showing people a
oh,
build
cool. You go
video.
ahead. I wasn't
This
talking or
is
anything.
this is John David. This is when we were literally like putting this up, and yeah. So keep going. I thought I'd just like play this. People can watch it while you're talking.
Now I'm distracted though. This is kind of sweet. Anyway, I'm moving and I was trying to figure out like the walls in this room are curved.
Wait,
Like
you're
the
moving. I thought you were
ceiling.
just telling me that you were like moving your location during the live stream.
No. I'm
Here.
moving.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, the walls in this room are like curved or angled, and I was trying to figure out like how do I fit all of my stuff in here? And there's like planyourroom.com and some of that stuff, but I was like, I'm pretty sure I can just work with Claude and build an artifact that'll help me map out my room. And then I can put like, I'm considering buying this thing, put the Amazon link and the dimensions in and have it not necessarily, I'm not trying to visualize everything in my room necessarily, but like just where would it fit and how would the flow feel?
Yep.
And that actually has helped quite a bit. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah. No. So I had to build a whole SketchUp drawing of the entire dome down to the half
I remember
centimeter.
you starting this. Yes.
So there we go. So this is what the dome looks like now.
Can you find one of the AI versions that you create? Because it looks kind of like what you would originally envisioned.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is very much like that. Yeah, I'll pull up a few of the things that Claude has built, helped me build with. You know what? We should do your room and the dome build sometime. That'd be interesting to do, like how you use AI in real world stuff. So, okay, but I know that's not what we're going to talk about.
Because I think today leads into some like good AEO conversation that we may have next week. Mm-hmm. Not pretending to be experts by any means, but I think it'd be very helpful to you'll see why it leads into this really well. So today I wanted to, and thank you guys for the patience. Sorry about all of the chaos. But I wanted to be able to talk through like, not just can an AI agent donate to your organization, but even just can your organization be found to be able to be donated to, right? So I've got 3 prompts I want us to run, and then a nonprofit I actually work with, I want to run. I haven't run this against their donation forms, and I help set up their forms. So I'm very intrigued to see, do we have the metadata set up correctly to actually trigger what we need it to trigger? Because they're an emergency response organization. And so being able to find them quickly is in fact the whole bit. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go ahead and just get started with some of these. I'm going to talk through what I've got here. You know me, I love a good artifact. So I've got a scorecard for us to look through today. Let me see. Here we go. So we will be able to type our own prompts. I also have some cheat prompts here that we will go through. So before we get into those, I want to show you I hate calling things a framework because that feels way more official than it is. This is just the scorecard I built today. So of the things, like of the ones we're looking at and the prompts we're typing in, can it actually find the organizations doing this work? Can it prove they're real? Can it say what the money would do? can it get to an actual donation page? And then, of course, the last one, can it reach a gift a human could finish in one click? I haven't decided. I'm going to start in Gemini just because, but I don't see why we couldn't test this in many different AI. And so, Tim,
Absolutely.
I'm wondering if on your end, while I'm doing it in Gemini, if you'd be interested in doing it in Claude.
Yeah, totally.
Very similar setup. The same link that has our production playbook. If you go to it, it's got the scorecard and all of the links and everything. So that's the nice part for you. But yeah, I think starting with Gemini just to see what it surfaces and going from there is probably our best bet. So starting with our prompt number one, I want to give it to a $50. I got $50 and I want to give it to a nonprofit helping kids in Sioux Falls, right? Like that's a super vague one that I could see many a donor who, and it's maybe not $50, it's 5,000, 50,000. And so I'm going to go on over to our Gemini. You can see I'm logging in right now. And of course, because my computer restarted, we've got about 8 million screens to look through before it'll start.
So how many tabs do you have open at a time, do you think?
Right now, I frequently, before I hop on these, try to shut everything off. Like I'll turn Slack off, like completely quit out of it. I've ran even in my terminal in Claude Code, like had it run a why is my video delaying, or like what's running that I don't see that's running while I'm in the middle of Restream or while I'm in the middle of a Zoom call, just to like try to get this figured out. And inevitably, we still sit here. The problem is then okay, so for example, I've got one password. I think this is good for people to know because you should have password protection. You should have password managers.
Absolutely. Yep.
So the human stack, I have a separate 1Password account for them, which means I have to log in not just to my 1Pass, but I have to then log into the human stacks. And then I get all the way back here to be able to then log into my, which is great. Like, and I know there are people who are like eye rolling, being like, this is why I hate this stuff. But it makes it so I can log into my stuff wherever I am at any point in time. I could stall like these passcodes and things that I need, these pass keys. I could just use my 1Pass for it. Don't need to do anything else. Some of that, like right now I'm doing the text because I just don't trust anything right now. But usually you can kind of do any of that. So I think that's the piece. Of course, I can't get it loaded up.
Okay, I'm going to be doing this in Cowork. And
Cowork. Do you want to explain what Cowork is?
Yeah. So in Claude, you can either have conversations in chat or you can get stuff done in Cowork. So chat is kind of where you like, I want to know something. I want to have an extended, like, teach me about whatever thing or help me frame out an idea. That's where I do it. But when it's time to like take that idea and do something with it, or if I want to schedule, a task that is going to read my inbox every day and tell me the 10 things that are in it, something like that, that's on the Cowork side. So on this one, I actually want to get something done. So I'm going to go to Cowork and use that. And I'm using the same prompt that you are. I want to give $50 to a nonprofit helping kids in Sioux Falls.
Now, in Gemini for a minute, so I wonder. I should probably spend some more time back in it.
I wandered in there the other day, and I was like, "What is happening over here?"
I know. Well, and I'm like, "Gosh, what?" Because part of me is like, "Gosh, I bet they have a version of this, of Cowork, of something like that." But I'm not completely sure they do.
They always have. So that's the thing about Gemini, is that Gemini does not like put out all the stuff you can do with it, but there's all sorts of workflows and schedules that you can do in Gemini that are just native, and so you don't talk about it. But yeah,
that's a good point.
It's just kind of
been there, not
built into the UI.
I think I'm gonna do the thinking version.
I think that's a good idea.
So I'm just gonna hit submit.
Oh, cool! I got a server is busy. Trying again. Oh, it actually worked. Okay, cool. I've got some here.
Why don't you share your screen? I wonder if we can share 2 screens at a time.
Oh, okay. I'll try it.
Worth a shot.
By the way, you just said something that I am teaching all of my coaching clients is the most important thing about AI. You said, I wonder if you can
Oh,
frame
every time.
the thing you want to do in AI, if you can frame it in I wonder if, you will be able to, like, it'll work better because it's going to come from a place of curiosity. So, okay. All right, here we go. We've got boys and it says this is a nice simple one. No need for tools here. So that's funny. And then it says, I'm like, just a quick answer.
You're like, I'm
Like,
not done.
I know, exactly. Okay, Boys and Girls Clubs of Sioux Falls Empire,
Nope, Sioux
Lifescape,
Empire.
Sioux Empire. Okay,
Sorry.
Lifescape. No, that's fine. Children's Home Society of South Dakota, Boys and Girls Club Aside. So hyper local, the Banquet or Sioux Falls Public Schools Foundation. Um,
So
yeah.
knowing
Okay.
the area, let me talk you through those really quick. So
Yeah.
because this is pretty important. Boys and Girls Club of the Sioux Empire, that is obviously a national organization, and it's talking about it's Sioux Empire, which is basically Sioux Falls and the surrounding areas. It's the Sioux Empire specific break off chapter, what have you. Lifescape, funny enough, I love that popped up. That's actually somebody I work with on the daily. They're currently moving. They're a massive organization in the state. Children's Home Society, similar, very well known. The Banquet, while it is specific to Sioux Falls and to South Dakota, it is a very widespread knowledge, like understood issue in nonprofit, as would be the Sioux Falls Public Schools Foundation. So in yours right now, I would argue none of those are like novel. All very useful. Like I love that those pop up, but I'm
Like
not
vanilla.
surprised. Yes. Now, if we look at mine, I'm not convinced there's much different here. There's a couple. Sanford Children's Hospital Foundation, very similar to Lifescape or Children's Home Society. Sioux Falls area CASA. CASA is a little more niche. That's court appointed special advocates. If you don't know, I love that organization and could talk about it forever. Children's Home Society popped up on both, which tells you their AEO is killer. McCross and Boys Ranch is actually really interesting. It is
Wait,
specific
sorry.
to South Dakota.
Hold on. Hold on. You just said that means their AEO is killer. I know there's a bigger conversation about that, but I don't know what that was. That a cheerleader? Like,
No,
what
don't
was that? I don't even know.
worry about it.
AEO, what's the connection between what you're seeing on both of our things and AEO?
Yeah. So AEO, like we all know, or we have known SEO, like search engine optimization. AEO or GEO, there's a bunch of different ways to call it, but it's basically like how are you optimizing for the search that's within generative AI? And so the fact that $50 to an organization that supports kids in Sioux Falls, both Claude and Gemini on a first pass pop up Children's Home Society of South Dakota tells you that it is very clearly hitting the buzzwords that nonprofits that support children in Sioux Falls needs to show up consistently. It's the only one on both of our lists. So it's showing that like if their target market is not people who want to support children in or around the Sioux Falls area, they're definitely showing up on the wrong lists. But if they are those things, which plot twist, I know they are, they're showing up on the right list, right? So it is the path of least resistance to find them, to give to them above other organizations, which is kind of where I want next week to go into. So
And really,
I'm interested.
I mean, AEO should or could just be called AIEO, but then it'd sound like, old McDonald's, so we're not doing it. But it really
Stop. I'm gonna
is
name
like,
next week's that though.
but it is just AIEO, which is AI engine optimization, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
right.
So one
Okay.
thing I want to point out in some of mine is I appreciate what it's pointing out, but these are not those like niche, because we didn't ask for very niche coverage, right? We said children in Sioux Falls. Well, there are in the state of South Dakota alone, like 501c filings, whether it's any of the C3, 4, whatever. There's over 8,500 in the state, and Sioux Falls is the largest city in the state. And so, of course, there's going to be tons that support children. It does not get specific into that. But scorecard, did it surface real organizations actually doing this work? The answer, absolutely yes. The next question we have, Tim, is can it prove they're real? EIN, registered, actually local. I think that's the next question we ask. I kind of love this dual share. I don't know if you're
I
seeing the
know.
screen right now, but this is actually kind of awesome to see.
I kind of agree. Is there a way for our faces to be smaller and these to be bigger? I don't know that much about the different setups on them, so.
Well, not that. Well, let's type in while they're thinking. I will.
Oh, I know how to do it.
No. No.
Okay, I'm just going off
Did you just
camera.
take yourself off?
I did.
I suppose you could do that.
Right, because then it'll show both of them.
Okay, well then same.
Okay, great. We're still here. We're just like doing dueling AI right now.
It doesn't really make them any bigger for what it's worth.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Wait.
Ooh, okay, wait, hold on. Keep it there, and I will change my Windows size
Hey-o.
so that it fits. Okay, cool.
Look
Awesome.
at that. Okay.
Okay, all right. This is fun. I like how we're just doing this real time here.
Okay, so we're trying to figure out, can it prove they're real? Is the EIN actually registered? Or what's their EIN? Are they actually registered? Are they actually local? So I'm going to say, can you put these in a table? We're going to do some discovery work, starting with, can you prove they're real? What's their EIN? Are they registered? Are they actually local? Sure.
Interesting. Okay.
How would you do that?
Can you? Well, okay. So
Or do
this
you want
is
to copy the
probably not
same?
what I'm supposed to do. I would love to. The thing I did is I went and copied your scorecard, and I was about to paste it in there and say score
I was
these.
going to as well,
But
but
then
I
it's not.
thought,
It's actually scoring the workflow is what the scorecard's built for, right?
yes, I did put then in
Yeah.
our chat my exact
Okay, good, cool. Thank you.
spelling errors and all. Okay, so while Tim's putting his in, you can see 501c3 registered, what's their federal EIN. And remember, you guys, this is all public knowledge. This is stuff you can find from their 990. So this isn't like, I know there's a lot of folks that don't realize how much information is public to in a 990. And because of that, they get a little freaked out when they can see the information that pops up. But so you can see their physical base in Sioux Falls, locality and scope. So I'm interested here. Directly funds patient care at Sanford Children's Hospital, which is in Sioux Falls, advocates specifically for abused and neglected children in the 2 counties that Sioux Falls covers. Children's Home Society, this is the statewide headquarters, 100% local. So this is at McCrossen's Boys Ranch that I was telling you about. This is probably one of the most local. An 80-acre ranch campus on the north side of Sioux Falls, caring for at-risk youth. Sioux Empire United Way, local community chest, directs funding to over 80 programs across the 4 county Sioux Empire region. Intriguing. Okay. What did, and yours is looking. Good news.
Yeah. So it went through and it went and searched a bunch of sites here. And then it did the same thing that you're doing, put it in a table. I will decrease the fonts a little bit so that we can see a bit more of the table. Yeah, so yeah, it's got all of them in there. EIN, HQ notes. I know I looked up Charity Navigator, looked up, a bunch of other information on it. It found that it's the Public Schools Education Foundation, so that's helpful. And then it sourced out where it found all of those. It only says ProPublica on any of these, but actually I know that it looked at Charity Navigator as well. So I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting. I also want to say
super interesting for us to know for next week, Tim, would be that if it's sorting something like ProPublica and Charity Navigator before a website, that is something worth discussing.
Yep. Right.
Go ahead. You were going to say something else, though. Sorry.
Marnie Webb, who is the CEO of TechSoup, is having a super interesting conversation. She and I have been like talking about some of this. You can find her on LinkedIn and you can look at what she's doing with social or civic society knowledge graph, and the way that she's thinking about not just AEO, but the way that you think about this globally, this same kind of an experiment. And she's getting into the specific topography and the MD file versioning and the JSON interactions behind this, so that the actual architecture of how AI is finding all of this is something that the knowledge graph could contain, and make it less just dependent on search and more localized. I think it's a really interesting idea. She's talking about this with a lot of other organizations. So it's just a really interesting conversation. We're at a major fork in the road on how AI figures this stuff out about
Yeah.
civic organizations.
Interesting. You kind of lost me a little bit in the sauce there, but I think we'll have to revisit it for sure. I almost popped my video back up just for folks to see how, for those that watched Home Improvement, my brain inside went, like the, you know what I'm talking about?
Ooh, yep, I do.
Hey, I did ask the next question, which is what, or can it say what the money would specifically do? I put that in the chat. So for me, I just said, are you able to tell me, add to the table what my money will do for each? If you can't tell, make it known. Or if you're assuming, make that clear, cite your sources so I can verify if I don't believe you, which is like,
Oh, that's very
Sami.
funny. I
Well,
like
and I
that.
do it all the time.
Yeah, totally. I like you
um,
just saying like, if I don't believe you. So like,
well, yeah,
yeah,
it's telling you
totally.
exactly why. That's what I'm trying to figure it out, kind of
Yeah.
deal.
Yep.
What's really intriguing is, so a couple things, at least on this one. And I think this started as a lesson in Can an Agent Give to Your donation page? I think I should have known how much of this would turn into an AEO starter. Because, for example, these first three, very specific, tells me
Mm.
exactly, and that's not necessarily having been the practitioner in nonprofit. There is something to be said for, I need to be able to operate, right? So McCrossen's
Mhm.
Boys Ranch, I don't necessarily think this is an uncomfortable answer, right? Supports general therapy or our residential youth care fund. Like essentially the residential youth care fund is fine. I'm just so intrigued. And this is more of like a Sami opinion than it is anything else. But like the 1 month of therapy materials or 9 to 10 days of a dedicated volunteer court advocate, very helpful to see on a donation page how much, like how far can this $50 actually go. But as far as knowing how nonprofits need to operate, I also know we want to be able to say, like Project Camp, which is the organization I want to test this on at the end of the show. I don't even know how to explain this. They need to be able to operationalize their dollars as quickly and flexible as possible. And that is not to pay for staff. And even if that was it, that shouldn't be an issue. But it is meant to be, hey, we need to be able to activate and show up the minute the fires hit in Spokane.
Yep.
The minute you know what I mean? And $100,000 could sponsor an entire camp. Absolutely, they could. But the money isn't necessarily going to be designated only to that camp. If they get things donated, they're going to bank that money and apply it to the next camp. You know what I mean?
I think it's a really important question in the responsible use of AI, and I want to connect it
Yes.
like this, because the the risk side of stewardship has been so front and center for nonprofits that the benefit side of AI just cannot get its
Mm-hmm.
time on stage right now. And this is actually one of those places where stewarding your AEO like tokens on your website, which is not a that is not a data risk, that is a data stewardship obligation to your mission in a way, right? The
Yeah.
same way that if you want to show up on SEO, then AEO is an absolute front and center responsible AI use question, right? for
100%.
exactly what you're talking about. And I think that it's gotten so polarized. Like, responsible use of AI is a toggle switch, either no AI or all AI. And it's not like that. It's too big, right? Like, the internet or money, right? Like, is money good or
Mm-hmm.
bad? So I feel like that's an important part of this conversation is what does responsible use of AI look like in this? And by the way, these are great prompts. Like, this is so helpful. I'm not digging in at the AI AEO levels, but I I am tempted to go in and ask, give me all the AEO tokens for each of these sites, just to see
Well,
if
let's
it will
ask it at
actually
the
just
end,
return
right?
that. Yeah,
So
yeah, totally.
the next question, and I do think I wanted to call out that like the last two it did so like an estimated ratio derived from benchmark program fees, like some of that stuff. So it's saying not good or bad. I could tell you $50 goes about this far because I could dig and find all of that. But it tells you
Yeah,
it's not easy for someone. So even if you're just thinking about, not AEO and SEO, you're just thinking about my website and do people know where their money goes? They might know where their money goes, but they don't know how far it goes
yep,
per this conversation. You know what I mean?
right.
So the
Yeah.
next question is like, can you get me to the donation pages of each of these orgs? Right. So this is where your donation pages, because many of us use third-party plugins to process some of that. This will be very intriguing. Look at that.
I'm like wishing that Dana Snyder was here because this really intersects
Oh,
the monthly giving program
yes.
work,
I can
right?
hear her.
I know, right? Because yeah, and so I helped Dana build out her app for doing this, which takes everything that she's doing in mastermind coaching, puts it into an app that's super affordable. There is so much magic to doing monthly giving right, and a lot of it is the donor page, but a lot it also is finding how that works. So I'm really curious about that as well, right? So this is a one-time gift, and we're not looking to become monthly donors. So a
Yep.
question
I do have
is,
other prompts, but because we're gonna get tight on time, I'm not gonna do the monthly because I do want to show Project Camp.
okay, great.
But I wanted
All
to
right,
click into
cool.
some of these and see, do they actually load? Like, is it just assuming, because in previous years it definitely would have just assumed like macrossan.org/donate and hope that. So what does this say? I verify so they're consistent, but I still recommend standard. Wait, go scroll down really quick. Sorry, Tim, I was looking at yours.
All right, go ahead. Yep.
Scroll all
Cool.
the way down to the bottom of it quick. Says, I verified against their 99 recus earlier. I still recommend standard gut check, padlock icon, name matches the payment screen before submitting a card number, since I can't independently confirm the checkout backend itself. That's a really helpful caveat, and mine did not give us that. Now I'm interested here. So there's the YMCA giving page, and then it's got Kindful Direct Portal, which is likely the organization they're using. Yeah. Interesting. So there's two different. I wonder, we're going to have to bring an AEO expert on tomorrow or next week
So okay,
to like give us some of that.
I asked what skill or tool would you need to confirm the checkout backend, which I know is not what
Mm,
you were asking me to do.
the worst.
Um, I know I am. The juice isn't worth the squeeze for a $50 gift. I like that. Well, then I'm okay. So this is where I get snippety with um with AI, and I'd be like, well, then why did you bring it up? So anyway,
Yes.
okay. What am I supposed? What am I supposed to be doing? Sorry, what prompt was I supposed to send?
I'm saying, is there a tool or ability in Gemini to be able to get me all the way to the point of all I need to do is click and the donation is done? So basically, and I have a feeling Gemini's answer is going to be significantly different from Claude. And this is actually where you'll have to switch Gemini for Claude. But um, I know Claude could actually, like Claude and Chrome could do this, like it's showing. However, you can get a 2-click completion right after leaving the chat and using this browser For your protection, financial transactions always require direct human authentication. Naturally. So I want to see what Claude said versus.
So
Address
I
account
don't have like
disconnected.
for intentionally, I don't have the desktop set up to do this.
Uh-huh.
But I'd also like, is there an API giving or MCP or CLI way to automate this? That is an interesting question. So basically, you can have AI take over Chrome and literally run your computer and walk through the steps of donating. So you can do that. I do not give AI
No.
the ability to do that. That's like, to me, that's like a limit. So I would actually turn it on to try that while I'm watching it and then turn it off afterwards. Okay, cool. Every.org has a genuine public charity API. This is really huge that there's a charity API out there. Would use this 24 months before people really know what that means. But that is like they're calling this a headless donate API. That is, I think that is going to supersede the value of AEO soon. So I think that's interesting. There's also an agent to agent protocol that's getting built right now. I know that Amazon's working on that. That also is going to be really interesting. So
Daffy is the one that's popping up for us to be like seeing, because it's a DAF, right? And donor advised fund.
Connect it. Okay. Yep. Got it.
Yeah, no, it took me a minute too. But essentially you can just search like we just did. So what's interesting here is it's in an insular system. So now you're not only optimizing for like an AEO or something like that, but like how many of these systems exist out there that I need to make sure that when someone types, I want to give to $50 to a nonprofit helping kids in Sioux Falls, how do I know Daffy shows up correctly? How do I know, like, you know what I mean? How do I know I'm showing up in the right spaces each time? Very difficult to figure out. Like, I don't, not to mention, you know, nonprofits are all trying to just deliver their work and services at present.
Right. But, you know, there's a whole arm of nonprofits whose job it is to fundraise and to be thinking about this. And for that wing, I would say something like this. The future of giving is going to be donor pages and individual donors for one-offs and for, you know, major gifts and all of that. So kind of traditional fundraising. I think the future of scheduled giving, right? I think the future of scheduled giving is going to be AI, because people are going to want to be able to go into Claude and just say, this month, you know, I've got a little bit more, up my giving by 10%, right? And not think about it again, right? There's like, that means that automating the way people give back to the endpoint that they can do that, like that infrastructure exists, but people aren't thinking of it that way yet. So I think that's really interesting. Okay,
I want you to try this with me because I want to see. I just put it in the chat for you.
By the way, this is so fun. Sammy, this is like one of my favorite episodes ever. I'm like having so much fun with this.
Well, and it's fun for people to see how we use AI as well. Like, I think it's really important that we do that demonstration often. And so,
yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Okay, all right. So I'm going to go back to my AI for Anyone live work. I want to support the efforts in Spokane fires happening right now. Tell me the options and the audience. Oh my gosh, that's so relevant.
Well, and what's interesting is, I mean, full transparency, like I'm working with this organization to make sure they're findable for these reasons, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, if you're in the Northwest like being able to activate quickly to receive donations around this kind of giving is going to be really important. So I think you're exactly right. The fire, like natural disasters, are not going to get less. So responses to them
Yes.
have to get more sophisticated.
Oh, yours is so narrative.
I am in sonnet. I'm kind of curious if I change it to haiku and resend.
Eh.
Yeah. Are you annoyed with the? Are you happy with mine or annoyed with yours? I can't tell which side you're
Oh, I'm
landing on
annoyed with
here.
yours.
Oh, okay. All right.
So Project Camp is the organization I'm talking about. You guys have heard me talk about them before. What I'm interested in, this is something that we teach often when we're working with AI, is if you don't like, if you get a result that's unexpected, ask it why the expected result didn't happen. Right. So I tried to I literally said, how about kids? You're the worst. I said, how about kids? And it still gave me very specific to Spokane because that's what's happening right now. And then American Red Cross, how kids and youth can get involved, which is great. But I was like, okay, up to this point, I tried to get niche. Why didn't Project Camp show up? Which is what I would love for you to also say. What
Why
I don't
didn't
love
what?
is Project Camp show up. Project:camp. What I don't love is this one was like, that was an oversight. Okay, but that's the problem. I need to I don't care if it's an oversight. I want to know what Project Camp can do, is what
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Tell
say.
it. No, it wasn't. This is mechanical. What mechanics broke down?
Yes.
Because it wasn't an oversight. It actually operated exactly as it was supposed to. Right.
Yes. So I'm gonna say that even. It wasn't an oversight. What mechanics didn't trigger that Project Camp needs to fix or address in order to show up in scenarios like this, right? Because we're not thinking about supporting emergency response organizations until there's an emergency. I would love for people to, and there's a whole section of what we do trying to handle that as a statement. But generally speaking, they're ready to accept donations. How do we make it so when folks are like, how can I help in insert disaster here? Project Camp shows up, right? Like that's an interesting, okay, specific specialized disaster organizations. Deployment isn't automatic. It relies on emergency management protocols to, that's not what we wanted.
I can't tell. Is what you didn't want the response, or that what you've been working on isn't working, or like what does that mean? I can't
Oh,
interpret.
sorry. I usually have my face to gauge with that, but it's basically saying like maybe Project Camp didn't deploy because of this. And that's not what I meant. I just meant
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha.
why didn't Project
Okay,
Camp show up in your search?
so it asked me. It gave me two reasons when I said why didn't it show up. It said search terms were generic, and local outlets covered other stuff, and then Project Camp deploys based on invite slash activation by local emergency management or partner orgs. So if they haven't been activated for this fire yet, or activated after my search, they won't show up in local news coverage. So then I said, and then it
Oh,
asked, and then it said, "Do you want me to check its own site slash socials directly?" And I said yes, and evaluate how they can improve their site slash socials. So here you go. Sorry if
unfortunate,
this
because I
is like
do
worth
know
it.
for
I
a
don't want this
fact.
to be capping on work that you've been working on, right? So um,
No, the nice part
could,
is though, like this is the type of organization that they want to know how we do this better because of what we're doing, right? So you can see
okay,
they are
this is
helping
a
run Camp for Kids impacted by the Spokane wildfires. Like I want to see, I'm going to put this in the chat. I want you to put this back in your chat and be like, they literally are there. What do you mean?
so it's confused about its domain. It says the real domain is projectcamp.co. The .org is expired slash for sale, which is its own problem if anyone searches it wrong. But
Oh,
you're a .com, aren't you? Isn't it
no, it's just
projectcamp.com?
.co.
Okay, so like that's so the
Huh.
domain is actually a block, which I never would have guessed.
No, and I'm gonna spin hearing this. I send them this. Okay, rapid
So
response.
can I just say, like, for whomever is working in this, and if you had had a similar thing, and if you work at Project Camp and you're spinning right now, please understand this is an emergent reality, which means there is no past that you can use to predict the future on this. So
Correct.
you're not doing anything wrong. You are trying to make your way in a very different world than used to exist, right? So I just want to be clear about that. And so, yeah. And I just noticed the time. How does this happen every
Yeah,
time?
that's why I was like, probably need to pull us back. But
I
I
know.
can't
This
wait to
is
show
so
this to
interesting.
the Project Camp crew. And I think, Tim, I have some friends that actually work in the AEO SEO space. I want to send them this episode and see.
Hmm.
It's a delicate balance because I don't want the whole episode to just be about like completely nerding out about AEO. It's got to be sort of like what we were doing. And so maybe we get back to Project Camp. I'll have their permission. I can update their metadata on their website. You know, like
Yeah,
we could
right.
actually try and fix an organization utilizing AEO that it really does require you to be able to search. If I need, like, I want to help kids in the Spokane wildfires, I want Project Camp to show up and they need to show up.
Yeah,
So
right.
how do we make that? Because it's not even forgiving, right? Like they need volunteers. They run camps with 100 kids every day. They've got
Right.
3 or 4 locations popped up right now in Spokane, and your AI couldn't even find a deployment. That's a problem.
Yep. That's a huge
So
problem.
I know they'll be willing to let me do it. I just need to find
Uh,
somebody that'll actually like be comfortable live walking us through some of that stuff instead of
I
just
mean,
talking
one
about AEO
big
the whole time.
finding is that AI expects .org to work. So .co like means its
God, that's
own thing,
crazy.
right?
Oh, they're
So
gonna
if they're
hate
asking about
that.
a if they're asking about a well, I mean, if it's for sale, like get it and then like
That's the first
do a
thing I did was
redirect,
look it
right?
up. I pulled up Namecheap and was like, all right, I got to see if this
Right.
is
Yeah,
actually for sale
totally.
so I can get it for
Right.
them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
uh,
Thank you everybody for joining in and watching this episode. I don't think this is too deep. I think this is exactly where people are hitting the road these days. Like I think this is very in front and center for fundraising teams trying to figure out what this looks like, because this is one of those places where if you set it up right, it does the work for you, right? And it just
Absolutely.
requires a bit of time to set up, and then it actually starts to pay off. So yeah, I think this is really good. As always, Sammy, your episodes are so interesting, but I think this is actually a really good blend of strategic and tactical, and I think that's really hard to hit. So well done.
Super fun. Thank you, everybody,
Oh
for joining us. We will
yeah, and
see
thanks
you
everybody
next week.
for dealing with our updating in the middle of an episode, which is
It's
just like
great.
what in the world. Yep. So okay,
It's great.
Sammy, great to see you. Everybody, we'll see you
Yeah.
next week.
Till next week, guys. Stay curious.
Stay human.